it's a Mother's Day. My mother is on vacation to the Ozarks, so I am just doing some work, projects. It's a good time of year. It's not too hot. The bugs just came out a few days ago, mosquitoes yesterday, but they're not so bad yet that you have to have a head net on, but that'll be the case in a couple days, I'm sure. So long sleeves those. Actually I could probably get away with it. It's pretty breezy today, so I could get away with short sleeves, but for today I am milling. I've been milling a lot lately because I sourced a bunch of white pine. The mechanic that I use, he had a ton of white pine in his yard and cut them all down. So I have a bunch of this stuff. I can show you the piles I have, and I still have to get like 3 more truckloads with my gooseneck trailer. So these are the logs I have right now, and I still have like 3 loads, I believe. I think this is 4 loads, so close to double. So this is like firewood. Probably I can shorten some stuff, use it for boards for the soffit of the house, because I only need like 3-footers or something like that. And then these are a lot of the good ones. Some of those are like 24-inch diameter around there, and then here's another batch. And then I have a bunch more firewood type, usually put on like, depending on the size, obviously 9 or 10 logs in a load. But I'm taking everything he has, and that's kind of the deal. It's all free. It wasn't a yard though. So far I haven't hit a nail, but I'm sure I will. You know, you're in a yard, so people over the years will randomly pound metal into a tree or whatever. So a lot of people don't take stuff from yards, and he couldn't get rid of it. But I'm an idiot. We'll see if you know, I hit a bunch of shit. I don't know. But so I'm taking it for free, but a lot of it is junk. I would say a third of it. It's just nothing but firewood, which I don't really burn softwood firewood. I do in my garage because I, mill up a lot of it, so I use that, but I don't need extra. So, but I had to take it. So that was the deal. I get it all for free. I take the crap wood too. So this is semi-crap. I mean, that's a big tree, though. But I can get lumber out of there. I'm going to cut, I think, this off and get a bunch of short boards and then cut this up. But there is a lot of good stuff, too. So my point is, I can't just leave this stuff. I have to get, turn it into a cant or a big square log without, there's a mosquito, without the bark, because the beetles will get in there and start destroying it, and also it'll just rot. So I got to get into a bunch of cants, and then I have to find a place to put them. So I'm hoping I'm gonna put down some crappy blocking that I have. I have some I think it's basswood over here, really long ones, and they're look to be about 6x6s. So I have 4 of those, and they're about 10 feet tall, and I'm going to lay them down and then start putting all these cants on there. And I'm going to have to like lay a course of 6-inch cants, and then lay a course of 10-inchers or whatever. But I have yet to start doing that, so I got to come up with a plan. I'm also milling up some tamarack. That's what I have on the mill right now. This is a tamarack, and these will become, all these are tamarack. These will be the beams in my house. And also I have to build another shed roof off of here, and 3 tamarack posts. So I have to get some 11 footers. I believe this is going to be a post. And the really nice ones are for the house. I'm gonna do 5 by 5 inch posts for that shed roof. So, and this one will be one for the house because it's not long enough. But anyway, I think I showed that on another video. I haven't decided how the beams in the house are going to be, but there's going to be multiple sizes. One of them will be, the smallest ones will be 5 by 5. I'm also sharpening a bunch of blades. I stack all my sharpened blades here, these 2 spots. These are my brand new blades that haven't been used. I got 3 more brand new ones. I should probably get another box because my sharpened ones have been done. I think they're on their 3rd or 4th sharpening. So I think you might get 5 out of it, but probably not me because I'm not super precise when I sharpen them. I just kind of probably take off a little too much material. But all my cutoff or my bad blades go over here. That's too deep. I gotta lessen how deep it's grinding. That one was good. You can kind of hear from far away how it's grinding. It shouldn't be a loud first grind or a long second grind in the belly. And that's about right there, so I tighten this up. You're adjusting how far this pushes by coming in and out, and then adjusting this up and down to how much it grinds going down. So that's pretty good. And then I can take this and I clamp this here, and then as it swings around, it turns off both switches. So I just got to find the weld, count back 7, and then make this part in line with the 7th tooth. And that'll bring it and stop it right at about the right time. And then I can keep milling. So slabs like this, they're nice and thick. I can use it for firewood in my garage or my house if it's really dry. I just use it all for my garage. Use all the hardwood for the house. But these are also good for like a corduroy road, I guess is what I call it. I lay it down, stack them in wet spots, mostly just at the end of my pond. And then that is something I can drive my tractor over, and it stays dry, right? Instead of bringing in fill or anything, I just lay these down, and they last for years. One of my first videos I did that, and those trees, so that must have been like eight years ago. Those trees are still solid because they were tamarack. So that's what I've been doing with these. I just put them aside, cut them to the length, grapple them, drive them down there, and start dropping them in. So the one bad thing, because it takes so much time, but good thing because it's always, you know, it's a bunch of resources, is all the wood that comes from milling up all these trees. So a lot of it becomes firewood. This is firewood. The smaller stuff now I've been putting in my wood chipper that I showed on my last video. That's been handy. I just throw that in a separate pile in the front here, and then when there's a bunch of it, I'll bring the wood chipper in and chip all that up, and then that becomes mulch for our flower beds and stuff. We're starting to put the mulch down when I get into some cleaner wood without pine needles or anything like that. That's what I use for the flower beds and whatnot. It's not as nice looking as the dark stuff that we had been using, but it's, you know, natural, you know what I mean, from the land, and getting rid of otherwise would be a waste product and free, and paying for the wood chipper itself. And it'll turn, I'm guessing it'll like turn a dark gray, I would imagine, as the summer rolls on. But yeah, this thing is working well. I haven't had too many problems. I've broke 2 shear bolts so far, so I'm gonna have to get more of those. But it's not like a constant thing, so I don't think it's a problem or an issue at all. And then after I buck it up, obviously all this becomes firewood. A lot of this stuff I could wood chip now, so I've been doing that instead of keeping it all like last year, because there's only so much kindling that one needs. It's super nice to have kindling everywhere, but I have so much that I just end up burning it like a piece of firewood, and in the garage there again, and it just goes up so quickly and burns so hot, you really got to dampen the fire down. So much material to deal with around here. It's kind of like a constant mess, but I try to keep it somewhat organized and clean. You know, it's obviously just a giant work environment, a lot of unfinished projects and stuff, but I've spent a lot of time cleaning this, and I had a big pile of cutoffs there yesterday that I cleaned up. I got these ends that I have to take care of them, and I have to split those up. There's almost like a part of me that just wants to throw that shit in the woods and just be done with it, but it's all useful, and then I'll have logs laying in the woods everywhere. Once I start doing it, you know, then you just keep doing it. So I got to buck these up for firewood, but those were cut off because the log was so big that I couldn't lift it with the tractor. So I just cut part of it off, but you can tell these are pretty good size. I don't feel like that does that justice. Pretty good size logs. Very heavy. But then you have to deal with all the sawdust, all the cleanup, the sawdust that comes off the mill, and then the stuff on the floor, pick that up. That I actually use and throw in wet spots, like you can kind of see it there. Utilize it there too, just to fill it in like dirt almost. Just noticed that this tree is not a pine. This appears to be an oak tree. So, which is semi-confusing. I'll have to cut into it and see for sure. I mean, I'm 98% sure it's an oak tree, but I don't remember seeing any other log, and this is the butt end, but there should be a whole nother log in there somewhere. Anyway, we'll cut into it. I don't have a hardwood blade, but it's an all-purpose blade, so we'll see how it does. It's been a while since I cut hardwood. Big like logs like this, you want to put all the dogs on. Obviously, it's very long, but they sometimes shift, and this one's kind of crooked, so it's not touching that one. I forget what you call those. But anyway, also I had to take the toe board that lifts off the smaller end. I always put the logs on so the smaller end's closest to the mill head. And then this log is so heavy that I don't, that toe board should be more robust. They charge me $200 some for that thing, and the first one broke. And the next time when this one breaks, I'm going to come up with something else. I'm going to use like a car jack or something like that, because it's just too expensive for what it is. So I try to baby it a little bit, but it did lift this log. But you can tell that the threads of the, because you like crank it and the threads grinding, almost like they're eating away when you lift up a really tall log. But anyway, you want to get the center of the log level. So you got to lift up the small end so it's the same as the big one. which is cool because I've never milled oak. It seems to be going pretty good. It seems to be easier than hard maple. Hard maple's just an absolute bitch. It's really slow going. This seems to be easier to cut. Otherwise, I just have a really nice sharp blade, but which I did replace the blade, but I sharpened it, so they're usually not as good as the factory, right from the factory ones. But anyway, if this isn't, it looks pretty good. So now my mind's going of how I should mill this up, what I should do with it. Do I continue milling this entire log and spend the day on one log, or just turn it into a cant and put it off to the side, which is kind of what I'm leaning toward to decide what I want to do with it. Oak would be good for either the doors of the house. I have to build two, the front door and the back door, the exterior doors, and or the kitchen cabinets. So I was going to use either oak, hard maple, or ash. And I don't have any oak here to mill because I don't have any trees that I cut down, that I want to cut down to use for oak at my land, but I do have ash and hard maple. But this gives me the opportunity to possibly use this for the kitchen cabinets or the door. So I guess I'm going to have to cut it up, put it to the side, and then I'll cut some ash and I'll cut some maple and see which one I think is, prettier or whatever, and talk to my wife and see what we want to do with which wood. I think that's the best route. So I'm going to, flip this monster over. The only thing that sucks is it's got quite a turn to it, which leads me to my next thought, is I probably should cut this thing right here at the bow, at this little bend. That way I can get, a bunch of usable lumber out of this straighter piece, and then mill this separately, and that way I don't have to turn the entire, I feel like I'll waste wood if I cut this. Like if I cut it right here, I won't waste as much wood. At least in my head, that's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, if I turn it into a one big straight cant, which I don't need that length, I feel like I'm gonna waste a lot of this wood right here. And then I'll waste this wood and that wood over there. But I'm no professional sawyer, so I'm just kind of winging it. But I think that's what I should do. I should pick this back up, cut it at the bow, and then mill them separately. So like if I was doing kitchen cabinets, I would probably mill this all into 1 inch. But if I was going to do a door, I think I would want to go thicker. I don't know how I'm going to build my doors yet exactly. If I'm going to insulate them or just do them all solid wood, or put like a core of insulation in there. Undecided on that. I think I'd do it so I can get 6 feet on this side, and then whatever this ends up being, a little more than 8 feet. Yeah. So if I cut here, I'll for sure get 6 feet, and then this will become all of 9 feet. I got to put a little more thought process into this, obviously, because I don't come across oak every day. If it was just a white pine, I have a bunch of that, so I would just, hardly think about it just because I have so much of it. But this being possibly the only log, although, like I said before, this is only the butt end, there's got to be the top of this, unless he kept it for firewood or something maybe, or I haven't picked it up yet, because I still have 3 loads to grab. Anyway, I'm going to pick this back up, chainsaw that part off, and then keep rolling here because I'm not getting anything done talking and filming. In the wintertime, you run windshield washer fluid so the water doesn't freeze. And then I always put some pine sol in there too. So this is that short piece of oak. I'd like to start, maybe put these boards out in the sun, have them start drying, and they'll start coloring pretty quick. Like they change colors in the sun when the face of it dries, and then it'll give you an idea of what it actually looks like. And then I already milled up this one. Again, I have to come up with a place to put all these, but that's the cant. That's what I'm looking for. And I have to do that with all of these logs. So if you like these videos, press the like and subscribe button. I have no idea what it does, but I think it somehow helps me out. I have no idea how YouTube works. Some of these videos, you know, I got like, 50,000 views or 300,000 views. And it's not even, in my mind, that great of a video. And then other videos I put a bunch of time in and show a bunch of cool things, in my opinion. And it doesn't get hardly any views. So, not sure how it all works. But anyway, help me out, make some money, a little bit of money, and maybe quit that electrical thing. That'd be awesome. I would never do that, but anyway.